one thing that you talk about a lot, very, very frequently, is pedagogy and
Yeah.
curriculum. Go ahead. Why don't you break those two
Yeah.
words down for us? And
It's it's interesting because people learn this, I believe, in school, like teachers and whatnot. But however, this system isn't necessarily subservient to this idea that the curriculum is what we're teaching and pedagogy is how we're teaching it.
okay,
And pedagogy, example, you want to tell someone your opinion. Unless they're already aligned with what your opinion is, they already believe what you believe, the likelihood of them just taking on what your opinion is, your point, is low depending on the structured situation. Meaning, if you don't seem like an authority to that person, the likelihood of them listening to your point is low. So telling a story pedagogically, the way the brain works, will work more efficiently.
mm,
So pedagogy is how you delineate information, and curriculum is what you're actually delineating. Let's look at a textbook, for example. Textbook is the watered down, hollow observations of professors or other humans that have been labeled as authority figures writing down the thoughts that they have on the ancients, on the great thinkers of the ages. Why? Well, there's a logical standpoint to that. I mean, one way of looking at it is that saves time for the future generations to actually, gather that information. It's like you're trying to get someone to be articulate and thought provoking and powerful in their own right for the world so they could better serve our capitalistic society. So it's like, shoot, how do you do that in such a short period of time of 4 years? Number one, you don't. It's called a lifetime of learning and curiosity. But number two, how do you do that? Well, one of the effects of that is they attempt to almost summarize the great minds into these textbooks. And now there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. The only thing is, have you ever tried to read a textbook? It's extremely dry and
yeah,
prosaic and doesn't inspire you. Well, why? Because it's focused on curriculum and not necessarily pedagogy, meaning pedagogy, you need stories, examples, metaphor, simile. The hero's journey inspires it. It makes the imagination think and be curious and want to learn. And that curiosity will lead to the interest in observation and actually thinking, which is an effect of what education should be, because we create our reality through thinking and we develop new tools through our imagination that we, use a scientific method to develop. So if we're not interested and curious and thinking and imagining, we're not going to put the time over task to create these beautiful things. And if you look at a textbook, there's no hero's journey, there's no pedagogy, there's
yeah.
no anything to get you fired up and interested in actually reading it. So I'd argue most students, they're not reading I mean, who reads the textbook? Now, if they don't read the textbook, it's like having a gym membership and not working out. So that's a major flaw in the system. But now, this is the thing though. If you're aware of this and you're a student and you want to take advantage of school as most as possible, read read the textbooks, read the ancients, meaning read the great thinkers that are on your subjects and cross-pollinate that, grapple with it, battle with it, write your opinion, your view of it. That will make you stronger, and share that. Use YouTube, use video, teach, grow. And that's the whole point of it, of school in the first place, is to have conversations with other humans that might be interested in developing themselves.
Great advice.
So, the
Great.
how and the what. Pedagogy is the how, the what is curriculum. And that's like a serious, I would say it's not a conspiracy. No one's trying to be a jerk. It's the effect of the causality of the industrial age and attempting to put all this great knowledge into a jam-packed, like, hey, this is what you need to know to not be a dummy.
Oh, for sure. Now be on the
Yeah.
lookout for more conversations about this because he can drill deep into
We'll go
pedagogy and
all day
curriculum.
long.
So, but I like the advice that you gave because textbooks is just you had one over here. It's just it's
Yeah.
research
Yeah.
facts, right? Now, if you read a textbook, the basis of learning is it's when something new is connected to something that you already know, right? The neural pathways that you already have is connected to new ones, and that's how learning happens. And story, just like you said, sparks the imagination in a sense of it's getting your brain working. You start connecting dots within that story. So the great advice that you gave was actually read it, actually make that first path of neural pathways, and then write your own, create your own story around it. I just think that was great.
I mean, the more and more that you're thinking, it's like Carl Jung says it best, this quote, people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. Well, ideas will have you no matter what. When you are thinking above the idea, like you can like reading two opposing humans, two people with completely opposing ideology, points, reading both of them and thinking, in your head, all right, where is this person coming from? Where is this person coming from? And writing that down, like your perspective of it. Think of that. Now take that and bring it to like you're just reading a book of one person, like one at a time. Well, while you're reading that book of one at a time, don't let that person's point of the book, grab you into the vortex and just take everything for what it is. Think while you're reading, and your brain will naturally do this. You're going to start daydreaming off. That's okay. It's like a lot of people stop reading when that happens. No, that's your brain working. That's your brain working. You're in a workout.
Yes.
Appreciate that. When you have thoughts, one of the best things I ever did is when there was a thought coming, like, oh, I just started reading this. I'm like, oh my God, now I'm giving myself anxiety. Like I'm thinking this over here. Put the book down and write what you're thinking. You're developing your consciousness to develop you as a human in this world and create your reality. And when you do that over time, that's the whole damn point of everything.
Power.